Mr. Ahmad Lubis, Miss Jazimatul Husna,
I am Miss Siskan.
Miss Salsabila.
Ya, Salsabila Sadikin.
Okay. Mr. Singgih Saptadi, Miss Enrika, Mr. Dodi. Okay. Just 1, 2, 3. 3 presenter. Is it right? Just 3 presenter. Okay. Before we begin, I have to remind you that invited speaker has around 20 minutes to deliver his or her speech, followed by 10 minutes for the discussion. And each presenter will have 10 minutes for presenting the research. And I will give you 5 minutes for remaining, and when the time is up. We also have 5 minutes for the question and answer by them. Okay, now we will call the first presenter. I will call the first presenter, Miss Yolanda Octaria, with the title for the research. I think it's in Bahasa. Miss Yolanda?
Yes.
I think it's still in Bahasa.
The title is Work Accident is a Study in the Informal Industry, Miss.
Okay. Okay, the time is yours. 10 minutes for presentation and 5 minutes for question.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to share screen about my PowerPoint. Okay, before going on my explain about my journal, let's thank to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given our mercy and blessing. Salawat and salam to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam by saying Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Okay, I will explain about my journal. Is that title is Work Accident Case Study in the Informal Industry Center. Literature review and author is me, Yolanda Octaria, and co-author Darul Lestantio and Hanifah Mahardani. I'm from University of Diponegoro. Work accident. Work accident is an event that is unwanted and unexpected, a risk which can cause a victim either in the form of human life or property. This study aims to describe unsafe action, unsafe condition, and knowledge of occupational safety and health with occupational accident in informal sector workers. Based on literature study on several studies, there are research results regarding unsafe condition, unsafe action, occupational safety and health knowledge with occupational accident among workers in the informal sector. The method used in this research is literature study, which is conducted online through several websites or through internet, such as ScienceDirect, GS2R, ProQuest, Cambridge Core, and Google Scholar. This research was conducted on 36 articles consisting of 33 national articles and 13 international articles. And the journal is 25 national article and 15 international article, and there are 14 article in screening. But per article they don't meet inclusion criteria, and the 36 article there are 23 national article and 13 international article. The result from my journal is the result of the study based on 36 articles show that there is a relationship between unsafe action, unsafe condition, and knowledge of occupational safety and health with occupational accident among workers in the informal sector. Based on the result of search per article that have been carried out on the topic of the unsafe action problem with occupational accident, there are 18 articles consisting of non-national article and non-international article. Overall, of the 18 article, one article didn't have a significant relationship between unsafe action and occupational accident among workers in the informal sector. However, 17 other articles have a significant relationship between unsafe action and occupational accident. This in accordance with the theory of domino that unsafe action can lead to work accident. This is because more and more workers don't care about what they do and do things that are not safe or work causing work accident. Unsafe condition. Based on the result of search per article that have been carried out the topic of the unsafe condition status problem with work accident, there are 8 articles consist for national article and for international article. However, one out of 8 article doesn't have a significant relationship between unsafe condition and work accident among workers in the informal sector. So in another article, there is a significant relationship between unsafe condition and occupational accident among workers in the informal sector. This is in line with domino theory, which state that unsafe condition and unsafe action are the cause of work accident. Unsafe condition for workers can cause a fatal situation resulting in injury. Unsafe condition and unsafe action represent a condition in the work or environment that can cause the risk of work accident on a project. Workers are component of project that require personal protection, and the risk of accident that they will experience during the work process. Inadequate knowledge of occupational safety and health plus unsafe action of workers when doing their work, such as not complying with the existing standard operational procedure in the company, that ignoring the use of PPE or personal protective equipment, besides joking while doing their work, and the condition of worker who are unsafe, then this allow the risk of a work accident. And occupational safety and health. Based on the result of tracing article that have been carried out in the topic of the status of occupational safety and health, knowledge with occupational accident, there is 10 article, and of the 10 article, all of them have a significant relationship between occupational safety and health knowledge and work accident, in line with what Notot Mojo book state, that knowledge is the result of human sense or someone knowledge of an object and is influenced by the intensity of attention to an object. Therefore, knowledge is a predisposing factor for a person to behave and act. This also explains that work accidents are caused by the informal workers' lack of knowledge about occupational safety and health. And workers really need knowledge about the safety and health of company, because a company, especially an informal company, needs socialization about work safety and health, so that workers in the company know about the importance of occupational safety and health, or Indonesia language, keselamatan kesehatan kerja. Inadequate knowledge of occupational safety and health plus unsafe action of worker when doing their work, such as not complying with the existing standard operational procedure in the company, then ignoring the use of personal protective equipment, besides joking while doing their work, and the condition of workers who are unsafe, then this allow the risk of a work accident. And conclusion about my journal thesis, there is a significant relationship between unsafe action, unsafe condition, work safety, and work safety with work accident in the 36 article. In addition, the action has no significant result. 17 of the 18 articles have a relationship between unsafe action and work accident. There is no relationship. Then for the unsafe condition variables, 7 of of egg article have a relationship between unsafe condition and a work accident, and the rest have no relationship. And for the variable of occupational safety and health, all articles have a significant relationship between occupational safety and health and a work accident. And then suggestion per my journal, informal companies should give special attention to their workers by applying ergonomic work method, how to perform safety action, how to carry out safety condition, and have knowledge of occupational safety and health by following or holding out trust on occupational safety and health. For workers, they must be aware of the importance of occupational safety and health. For that is better for workers to carry out safety action, safety condition, and to attend work safety and health training. Okay, I think that's all. Thanks for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, we continue with the question. Any question from audience? Any question? Okay, no question. Miss Yolanda, I want to ask you a question. What is the urgency of doing this research? What did you have to do it?
Urgency about my research is work accident, Miss. Work accident in the informal sector.
Can you explain more detail?
Okay, because I want to talk about my journal. My the title is work accident. The variable is unsafe action, unsafe condition, and occupational safety and health knowledge. And then because according to the data, the Indonesian Central Statistic Agency, note that the total number of Indonesian workers at 15 years and over in 2019 was 126.51 million people. The large distribution is found in informal workers, reaching 70.49 million people. And then based on data in Indonesia, obtained the Employee Social Security 2020 work accident case increased to 177.161 case of work accident compared to 2019. Work case in the year were 115.235 case work accident, and this show that there is increase from 2019 to 2020.
Okay, thank you for your
Okay,
answer.
okay,
I think it's very nice presentation and research. Okay, thank you, Miss Yolanda. Now we call the next presenter, Mr. Dodi. Mr. Dodi Ferdiansyah. Okay, because the presenter is not yet ready in this room, we shall continue to the next presenter. Miss Nur Amalia Sari. Nur Amalina Sari. Miss Nur Amalina Sari.
Yeah.
Yeah, the time is yours.
Yeah. Okay, it's my voice a while. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, thank you for the moderator who has given me the chance to present my journal research. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Nur Amalina Sari. I'm from Linguistic Program, Faculty of Cultural Sciences from Diponegoro University. Okay, I'm as the first author from the journal title, The Influence of the Pandemic on the Motivation of English for Academic Purposes or EAP learners in studying IELTS. Okay, there are 4 points that I will present. The first is introduction. The second is research method. The third is result of research. And the last is conclusion. Okay, we are going to the first part is introduction. I made 2 points of introduction. The first is background and the purpose of the research. Okay, from the background, you can see the COVID-19 picture here. And we all know COVID-19 is the big issue nowadays in worldwide. So from the COVID-19, I make the background of this research, and I made 3 important points. The first is period start, the effects, and the change. From the period start, the first time COVID-19 appeared at the end of 2019 in Wuhan, China. And in Indonesia itself, COVID-19 has happened on early March 2020. Next, for the effect of COVID-19, actually many sectors get the impact from the pandemic COVID-19, such as economic, social, health, education, and etc. And here I made highlight in education because I will discuss about it. Okay, next for the change. For the change, one of change that happened of COVID-19 is the government regulation. Yeah, actually we know many changes that happen by COVID-19, yeah. And then 3 points of the government regulation is health protocol. We know the government asks us to obey the health protocol everywhere, every time in all situations. And then for teaching and learning by online, this is based on the government issued circular letter number 4, 2020, concerning the implementation of education in the emergency period of the spread of COVID-19. And then the letter regulates the online learning framework that must be applied. Then the next, and mobility restriction in society or social distancing or physical distancing. Okay, for next slide is the purpose of research. There are 2 purposes of this research. The first is to examine the motivation of English for academic purposes or EAP learners to learn IELTS in online and offline classes during a pandemic on an English course. And the second is to identify changes in student motivation during the learning process that are affected by the pandemic situation. Okay, for next slide, we move to the second part is research method. Yeah, there are 4 points for research method, such as method, instrument, the sample, research measurement. Okay, for the first point is a method. This research uses descriptive qualitative method. According to Mulung in 2006, argue that qualitative research aims at understanding the phenomena of study topics as behavior, perception, motivation, action, and etc. So that's why this research is about motivation. It's very using qualitative method. And then for instrument, I use questionnaire and I share it by the Google form to collect the data. Because to prevent the dissemination of COVID-19 virus without meeting face-to-face. So I use online system, yeah, for the collecting the data. And then number 3 is the sample. For the sample, I was taking 10 students from online and offline classes randomly, and specifically for IELTS class at English Studio course Kampung Inggris Pare Kediri. And then for result measurement, percentage interpretation criteria of motivation. So to assist this automatic evaluation, I have incorporated an interval table of criteria for the score interpretation based on Educational Journal in 2020 from Fitriani 2020 that has been subsequently characterized the percentages of findings based on 5 categories, including very high motivation, moderate motivation, low motivation, and very low motivation. Okay, this is the table, the percentage interpretation criteria. You can see that. And then we move to next slide. Next part is result of research. Okay, in this case, the target is students who are into the English for academic purposes or AF learners category, because at the stage of collecting data and information on the students, the majority of their goals in studying IELTS are to get scholarship abroad. So we can see in the right side, yeah. This is a chart about the main goal in learning English, especially IELTS, I mean. And then for 80%, the student choose the abroad scholarship to the main goals. And then for the others, choose the national scholarship as much as 20%. Okay, furthermore, the researcher has classified and described the survey result from the questionnaire according to Goen's theory, who has divided 4 points of learning motivation aspects. Those are achievement, commitment, initiative, and optimism. Okay, this is the result. Those are result of measurement in average, which has a calculated questionnaire result answer. So each aspect consists of 4 indicators. Then every indicator consists of 5 answer choices. Yeah, you can see in the red color is strongly agree. For yellow is agree. For green is neutral. For purple is disagree, and blue one is strongly disagree. And then for all the average assessment results that have been obtained, then 4 aspects are included in 5 categories of motivation level. Okay, firstly, for achievement aspect, the percentage is 47% in moderate motivation. For their commitment is 17% in low motivation. And for initiative is the same as achievement. The percentage for around 47%, it's the moderate motivation. And then for optimism, this is almost close to 50%, yeah. So approximately 49%. And the same in moderate motivation level. Okay. So for the last part is conclusion. Overall, the findings reveal that 3 of the 4 aspects of learning motivation have a medium level in this case. In conclusion, there is no substantial motivation rise on English for academic purposes pupils in the English learning process, specifically for IELTS in online and offline sessions for ongoing the pandemic. It might be argued that if the pandemic has a genuine impact on student motivation, students experience discomfort during the online and offline learning procedures, which also decreases student enthusiasm due to space constraints in offline classroom as a result of government implemented health protocol requirements. As a result, the findings of this research show the true condition in the contemporary institutional epidemic. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
I think it's very nice presentation. Is interested in your research. Okay, we continue with the question. Any question from audience? Any question? Okay, there are no question. Miss Nur Amalina, I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
What is your future study for developing this research?
Pardon?
Your future study for developing this research. I think it's pandemic is
Yeah. Okay.
side effect in all on learning,
Oh yeah. Okay.
online or offline.
Okay. Actually, I teach in this course, and then I saw the case directly before pandemic, and before pandemic, this course has online class also, and then when the pandemic came, I saw many fluctuation development in this learning process in this course, and then for the next study, I wanna what is that? I wanna so the development. I mean it should sorry may it this case same with before the pandemic situation or not, if the pandemic finish, yeah, and then yeah, I think
You can explain it bahasa.
pardon, with bahasa.
Oh, sure.
Oh, oke. Ya, jadi karena saya melihat itu sendiri, melihat kejadian itu sendiri di dalam kursusan ini, bagaimana perkembangan dari siswa yang belajar IELTS di saat pandemi dan sebelum pandemi, saya membandingkan itu fluktuasinya terlalu tajam, dan sebelum saya meneliti, banyak komplain atau curhatan dari siswa-siswa mengenai beberapa hal yang menurut mereka ada yang merasa nyaman dan tidak nyaman dalam kondisi belajar saat ini gitu, saat sebelumnya. Dan juga di sini saya membuat saya tertarik untuk membuat research apakah yang membuat mereka menjadi tidak nyaman dan ada yang merasa nyaman. Ternyata memang yang paling kuat adalah motivasinya gitu. Dan untuk kedepannya, ketika pandemi ini sudah berakhir, di sini saya mencari tahu lagi bagaimana cara untuk siswa ini kembali pulih motivasinya, antusiasmenya untuk belajar dari online mungkin ke offline, dan karena sebenarnya online ini sudah ada sebelum pandemi. Namun ketika pandemi ini ada perubahan pastinya gitu. Dan offline pun ada sebenarnya di kursusan ini, di offline pun masih tetap ada. Namun yaitu grafiknya itu terlalu turun. Jadi motivasi yang sangat signifikan adalah dalam kelas offline ya. Dalam kelas offline mereka banyak bercerita bahwa ketidaknyamanan mereka belajar di saat pandemi namun offline, seperti itu.
Okay, I think it's enough. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you very much. I close my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, we continue with the next presenter, Mr. Ahmad Lubis Ghazali. Mr. Ahmad Lubis. Okay, the next presenter, Miss Salsabila Sadikin.
Okay, wait, I'll share my presentation.
Okay.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Salsabila Sadikin. I am Relation Vocational School at Diponegoro University. And I am delighted to be here today to talk to you about the effectiveness of e-recruitment method through social media, a study case at PTST Indonesia Makmur, West Java. The purpose of this presentation is to explain the audience about the type of social media used as a means of job hiring and job posting of e-recruitment and the stage that is carried out in online recruitment and the suitability of the prospective job applicant with what is expected and comparing online recruitment methods with offline recruitment. My presentation is divided into 4 parts. I'll start with why we choose presentation. Let me start about general information of this essay. Several companies have reduced mass recovery efforts and in-person discussion for the COVID-19 pandemic password, one of which is PTST Indonesia Makmur. And the focus of this research is for the media for posting jobs and the application of the recruitment process through social media, also the effectiveness of recruitment method in an effort to reduce impact of the COVID-19 era. By studying library data and observation shows that the electronic recruitment system for the workforce is right to be used to facilitate and improve human research management in the COVID-19 pandemic era. In the next few months, life will not return to normal and recover like it was before COVID-19 pandemic era. Meanwhile, the business world cannot wait until the corona vaccine is found and must adopt to a new normal life by implementing new methods in many ways, including employee recruitment strategies. Companies are starting to adopt a system that is no longer at risk of spreading the virus. And the digital technology is the answer. Digital technology becomes the backbone of the company in the process of finding the best talent. And considering the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the workforce, of course, the role of social media doesn't stop in recruiting employees, but also has a role in helping people get a new jobs and keeping individuals involved after being recruited, and also called e-recruitment. The social media posting provides an online solution that covers a worldwide hiring process, and PTST Indonesia Makmur adopt this method. PTST Indonesia Makmur is a tea beverage business company that was built and developed by several young entrepreneurs who have a vision to become the largest tea drink company in Indonesia, Asia, and the world. PTST Indonesia Makmur currently growing and spreading in Medan, Palu, Makassar, and also various cities on the island of Java. And he is Haidar Wurjayanto as CEO and founder PTST Indonesia Makmur. The method and the focus that we use on this research is a literature study approach and descriptive analysis method. Also, the focus are recruitment research and effective recruitment. that the type of social media used as a means of job hiring and job posting of e-recruitment and the step that is carried out. Also, the suitability of the prospective job applicant with what is expected and comparing online recruitment methods with offline recruitment. Next is result and discussion. Basically now, social media widely used by the millennial generation for searching job opportunities. And the type of social media that PTS Indonesia Makmur used is Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and website. They also use a celebrity endorsement. It's because Birsia Jodi, one of branch owner of PTS Indonesia Makmur, is a singer, and it's mean a lot for ads. Next is the step carried out in online recruitment is using information technology and other internet technology support, for example, by utilizing social media. Job vacancies and recruitment through TikTok by PTS Indonesia Makmur, looking for staff trainers, opening store staff, quality control staff, marketing supervisor, and the TikTok division with qualification like on the slide. Next is job vacancies and recruitment through Instagram, the hiring for graphic designer, finance manager, logistic driver, and crew. The opening of job vacancies by PTS Indonesia Makmur through TikTok received many positive response from the audience. It's because TikTok is a favorite application and trending application on Play Store and App Store. Also, because many employees to be fired, so PTS Indonesia Makmur took this opportunity to find suitable workers, but in a different way. Next is steps to follow recruitment via TikTok. First, open recruitment. This open recruitment is through a creative video made by one of the founders of PTS Indonesia Makmur, Haidar Wurjayanto, through a platform that is currently being favored by many, namely TikTok. This video has been watched by more than 3.2 million views. Next is making creative videos by prospective workers. This video contains a short profile or short CV for 1 minute video, and the video must be posted using a special hashtag and tagging the TikTok Esta Indonesia and its founder account to make it easier to access. Next is assessment stage. After publishing the video, PTS Indonesia Makmur, the TikTok division, will judge it according to the suitability criteria. Next is announcement. Announcement of passing the creative video stage selection via TikTok. This announcement is made by contacting the selected applicants directly. The applicant will be asked to come to the office where they are applying for an interview by bringing some files, for example, CV. Next is interview. The interview selection is carried out at branch and central office depending on where the applicant applies. And the final step is final agreement between PTS Indonesia Makmur with the applicant. The explanation regarding the work contract, at the end of this stage, workers who are ready to work will be able immediately hired. Next is effectiveness of recruitment through social media. After e-recruitment, the number of applicant and prospective employees who enter have met the target set by PTS Indonesia Makmur. And this method makes use of existing social media and has been able to be accessed by all people in all countries. Also, this method saves a lot of time. But poster printing is not used because it's less effective due to the time duration and difficulty in understanding the list qualification. So, PTS Indonesia Makmur can open more job opportunities for job applicants. And at this time, PTS Indonesia Makmur has been able to open new branches up to 150 branches. So the conclusion are, PTS Indonesia Makmur has conducted an e-recruitment via social media by TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, website, and YouTube. Also, the recruitment method through social media has produced significant result. It is proven that PTS Indonesia Makmur can open up more job opportunities for job seekers. I think that's all that I can tell you guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. I think it's interested for your presentation. And now we will continue for a question. Any question from audience? Okay, Miss Yolanda.
Okay, thanks for action for me. For your Sister Salsabila, in your opinion, how effective is the PTST Indonesia using this method? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your asking and for your question, Yolanda Oktaria. Basically, PTST Indonesia Makmur, when before use an e-recruitment, they use a printing poster and offline on the on the writing paper, and they can have an applicant. They can have more an applicant job for an poster printing, but when they open an e-recruitment on TikTok, maybe because on TikTok have more users and also worldwide. Okay, so when PTS Indonesia Makmur use an e-recruitment, PTS Indonesia Makmur that has a target, and the applicant can get the target. Maybe that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your opinion. Thank you.
That's enough, Miss Yolanda?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your presentation, Miss Salsabila. Okay, now we will call the next presenter, Mr. Ahmad Lubis Ghazali. Mr. Ahmad Lubis.
Yes.
Yeah, the time is yours.
Thank you. This is Haki Dwi Nurhayati. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to my presentation today. I'm glad to meet you all. Before starting our presentation today, let me introduce myself. I am Ahmad Lubis Ghazali, and I'm from Indramayu State Polytechnic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is presentation. We are going to discuss about measurement of student service satisfaction using Fuzzy service quality method at Indramayu State Polytechnic. And then introduction. An important factor in increasing progress in every aspect of the world in Wandem, which about education. The internal quality assurance system of higher education is the plan, implementation, control, development of high quality standard consistently and continuously to obtain stakeholder satisfaction and graduate quality assessment. And then higher education service can be rated good and quality based on the good environment of the teaching staff, administrative staff, and existing faculties. The problem is the choice of the university to provide service for students such as educate internet access, good computer labs, and a comfortable library and a computer collection of books. And then in this material, the research took place at Indramayu State Polytechnic, West Java, Indonesia. The study material use a web-based information system, and then development system on a virtual private service with the domain kpm.polindra.ac.id. Data collection using sampling technique to students from 3 departments of Indramayu State Polytechnic. Sampling in empirical research is defined as the process of selecting or determining sampling, and then conventionally the concept of sample referred to a section of the population. The number of respondents of the study was 1,000 students from 3 major. Their scale 1, 3, and then perception is very distressed, and expectation very unimportant. And then method in your presentation is service quality, SERQUAL, dimension tangible, and then reliability, responsiveness, and assurance, then empathy. And then explanation of dimension and tangible, the ability to display physical facility and infrastructure. And then reliability, the ability to provide service and promise equality and reliable. And then method in your research, in my research and FASI, perception and expectation. And then FASI SQL algorithm, calculate of the total value and average value of respondent, and then determine the FASI set for the linguistic variable and measurement scale, and then establishment of TFN value, percentage and value of use extension, and then get a single value from the average weight of each variable. Finish and calculate the gap for each attribute. Next, and then implementation in my research in the FASI SQL application to determine student satisfaction with campus service was performed by testing quality with validity and reliability tests. And then total number of respondents was 100 students with table R0.195. Table R is a table of number commonly used to test the test result of the validity of study instruments. The next step is reliability test with result of some table. this case processing summary, and then case valid number n, and then the characteristic of the response of Indramayu State Polytechnic student with composition of 30 Department of Informatica Engineering, and then Department of Mechanical Engineering, and Department of Air Conditioning and Air Conditioning Engineering. And then the result application gap.
Excuse me, Mr. Ahmad.
Yeah.
1 minute left.
Yes, thank you. Gap performance analyze provide information by means of graphic picture and number. Next, in this is Fuzzy square gap level with 5 variable indicated the empty gap position 1 with the smallest value. And then result and discussion. The questionnaire as measuring to use in the study was declared valid in 1%. Condition level of 19.5% in indication. The fuzzy square gap level with 5 variable indicator. That empty gap in this this paper. And then this reference my research. Thank you. So that is the end of our presentation today. I will try answer all questions have you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ahmad Lubis, for your presentation. Now we continue with the question. Any question from audience? Any question? Okay, there is no question. I want to ask you some question.
Yes.
How many attributes you use in your research? How many attributes?
This attribute variable.
Yes.
In fuzzy surface square.
Yeah. Why you use fuzzy surface in your research? Maybe you can explain about the advantage in your fuzzy surface. So
yes.
It is you can use in your research.
My research in service quality 5 dimension. This is 5 dimension.
What is the advantage? What is the advantage for fuzzy circle? Kelebihannya apa? Kelebihan fuzzy circle apa?
Fuzzy service quality memiliki kelebihan untuk mengukur tingkat kepuasan. Untuk mengukur tingkat kepuasan dari penilaian terhadap manajemen di dalam perguruan tinggi. That is
measuring for satisfaction.
Yes, satisfaction.
Okay. How many attributes you use in your research? Attribute or variable?
5 variabel.
Okay.
Dari sisi tingkat kepuasan mahasiswa terhadap pelayanan manajemen di dalam perguruan tinggi, dari tangible, reliability, itu bagian dari proses untuk menilai seperti apa kepuasannya.
Okay.
Nah, this percent.
Okay.
dibagi 5 skala pembagian dari penilaian tersebut. Oke.
Okay. Okay, it's enough. Thank you for
Thank you.
your answer.
Thank you very much. This
Yes,
is
you're welcome.
yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ahmad Lubis. Now we continue with the next presenter, Miss Enrica Sevilla.
Yeah, let me share my screen first.
Yes, the time is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Enrica, one of the authors of this research. This research entitled Measuring the Success of ERP System Due to COVID-19, applying the success model of Dellon and McLean Information System. Sorry, my presentation will be divided into 3 sections. The first is introduction, followed by research design, and the last is results and discussion. Let's continue to the introduction section. PT Makmur Arta Sejahtera is a food industry company located in Cirebon, Indonesia. They have developed and implemented an ERP system that is synced with the company's department. Due to COVID-19, users are increasingly use the system because most of the time they will work from home. The management currently thinks the ERP system that has been implemented has been successful in processing data into a search of information, but the quality of information has not been maximized, so it needs to be further processed to make the results can be utilized. In addition, management thinks that the service aspect is lacking in mentoring from consultants in terms of socialization and additional training to make users more understand the work process to become smoother, and many other technical aspects that still need to be improved. The company feels the need to evaluate to find the solution in order to improve the quality of the current ERP system through precise measurements and assessments, so this ERP system has a maximum impact on business for continuous improvement. The implementation of an ERP system that has successfully supported the company's business process often has a less significant impact on increasing productivity and efficiency. In implementing and investing in IT, often not meet the target, so it doesn't support the company's business. Therefore, it is also necessary to have the right method to measure IT performance in the company, so the relevant aspect can be known to be measured and provide information on aspects that need to be improved to continue increasing productivity and efficiency. Based on the need of measurements methods, we decide to conduct research at PT Makmur Arta Sejahtera to find out whether the implementation of enterprise research planning that has been running has met the expectation of company management by choosing the right evaluation model and developing relevant and measurable aspects to support the goals of success in implementing the ERP system. Research and development of this measurement method can be used as a basis for company to evaluate method for the development and improvement of the quality ERP system in the future. Dellon and McLean Information System Success Model is a research model that developed based on the previous research. System quality and information quality are the first two dimensions in Dellon and McLean Information System Success Model. Then, they improved the model in 2003 and argued that the success of an information system success model is measured based on system quality, information quality, service quality, use, intention to use, user satisfaction, and net benefits. These are the model of the Dellon and McLean. These are the variables and indicator that is used for the research. There are 7 variables and 33 indicators. We use questionnaires and interview to collect the data from respondents. The respondents are the user of the ERP system, which is the workers, and the data processing technique use the PLS method. These are the hypothesis development. There are 14 hypotheses based on the path on the conceptual model. These are the results of data processing using Smart PLS. Convergent validity aims to show the relationship between indicator scores and their latent variables. Every variable has its own indicator. There are 33 indicators before the data processing. In PLS, this value is reflected in the loading factor indicator that measure a construct. The value that accepted is above 0.7. There's only 21 indicator that accepted. In measuring convergent validity, it is also necessary to look the average variance extracted with the value more than 0.5. Next is discriminant validity, which is used to ascertain whether the indicator variable has a relationship with other variable or not. The value of discriminant validity can be seen in the cross-loading table in the Smart PLS software. Based on the table, the cross-loading value for each indicator with its own latent variable is greater than the value of each indicator with other latent variables. It can be concluded that each indicator of different construct has no correlation and has different concept from one another. Reliability test can be seen in the output of composite reliability and Cronbach alpha from the indicator that measure the construct. Latent constructs are considered variables when the composite reliability and Cronbach alpha value is above 0.7. Inner model is a model that describes the relationship between variables, between endogenous and exogenous variables. The purpose of evaluating the structural model or inner model is to determine the hypothesis relationship between latent constructs. The measures used to perform the evaluation are coefficient determination, predictive relevance, effect size, and quality indexes. These are the output of the data processing. There are 7 out of 14 hypotheses that have no effect because the value of this statistic is below 1.96. Based on the results of hypothesis testing, it is known that there is no effect on system quality and information quality on intention to continue using, but it still has an influence on system use and user satisfaction. Then service quality has no influence on intention to continue using, system use, and user satisfaction. The results of this study are in line with the results of interview where the company feels that service quality of the ERP consultants is still less than what the company expected. Then based on the result of hypothesis testing, there is no effect of system use on user satisfaction, but user satisfaction has effect on the intention to continue using. In addition, system use has no effect on net benefit, but user satisfaction and intention to continue using has an influence on net benefits. Therefore, the quality of service quality must be improved because increasing service quality will increase system quality, user satisfaction, and intention to continue using, as well as increase the net benefit of the company. So the conclusion based on the results of the study, the variable used in measuring the success of ERP system implementation are system quality, information quality, system use, user satisfaction, intention to continue using, and net benefits. Based on the results of data processing, there is 7 out of 14 accepted hypotheses where the hypotheses have this statistic value more than 1.96. It is hypothesis 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 12, and 14. Recommendation that can be given to the company to improve the performance of the ERP system that has been implemented are improvement in system quality aspect, namely change the user interface, simplification or adjustment of modules according to user wishes, and adjustment of utility function. Then in the aspect of information quality, it is recommended to adjust information according to the business needs and simplify the form of reports to facilitate the evaluation process. Furthermore, in the aspect of service quality, it is necessary to increase assistance from the ERP consultants. The need of service consultants to always periodically evaluate the system that has been implemented and implementation change management in the continuous improvement process so that the result of change have a significant impact on increasing user satisfaction and the benefit of on business performance can be measured and carry out additional training on a regular basis due to the user's lack of understanding in using ERP system. Thank you for your attention. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Enrica Sevilla, for your presentation. Okay, any question from audience?
Okay. May I ask to Mrs. Enrica?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Ms. Afi. So my question is, what is the urgency of this research, Mrs. Enrica?
Thank you for your question. Let me answer it. In this COVID-19 era, a lot of people must work from home, and people usually work using online digital platform. One of them is ERP system, which is provide paperless business process automation. This research aims to find out if the ERP that has been implemented has successfully helped the company. Then it is necessary to find out what factors that affect the success of the ERP system in order to increase the net benefit and also for the continuous improvement for the company. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Enrica. In the presentation earlier, one of the variable in the information system success model is intention to use. Then why in the conceptual model the variable is named intention to continue using?
Thank you for the question. The reason I changed the name from intention to use to intention to continue using, because intention to use means the desire to use the system. Well, all of my respondents, which the workers in the company, have used the system during the COVID-19 pandemic. So it is better change the variable's name to the intention to continue using. Intention to continue using means the user is already used the system and will continue to use the system that has been implemented. Because if we use the intention to continue use, it is less relevant because the system has been implemented and used by the user. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Enrica, for the answer.
Okay. It's enough, Mr. Stefanus?
Yes, it's enough.
For your question?
Thank you,
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Enrica.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stefanus and Ms. Enrica. I think it's very nice for your presentation and your research. Okay, we will call the next presenter, Mr. Singgih Saptadi or Mr. Stefanus Robert.
Yes. Let me share my presentation.
Okay,
Thank you.
time is yours.
Actually, this is my presentation with my friends Stefanus and Farhan. So I will start it first. Gentlemen, my name is Farhan. With my friend Stefanus, will be presentation this research paper. Our paper entitled Requirements Engineering in the Integration of Social Media Based Integrated Interactive Learning. Our presentation will be divided into 4 sections. The first one is introduction, and then research design, information system design, and conclusion. Let's continue to introduction section. The changing times have caused changes in teaching and learning methods. This also applies to the Diponegoro University Industrial Engineering Department, which applies a both learning system during COVID-19. Diponegoro University Industrial Engineering Department implemented a both learning system by utilizing Microsoft Teams. However, the learning system of the Diponegoro University Industrial Engineering Department currently still has weakness. Therefore, additional learning support is needed to cover the existing weaknesses. To design a website and social media application requires an appropriate method. In this case, we are using the requirements engineering methods. Let's continue to research design section. This study uses the requirements engineering methods, but not completely. The method we are using is only up to the data collection stage. Questionnaire consists of two parts. The first one is stakeholder needs in the learning process of computer simulation course, and then user needs of application feature in the online learning process. The respondent were the lecturer and the active student in Industrial Engineering Diponegoro University, which are from batch 2017, 2018, and 2019. This section will be presenting by Stefan.
All right. Thank you, Farhan, for the presentation. Allow me to continue the section. All right. We enter the information system design section. There is two roles in this research. The first one is student, and the other one is lecturer. We can see both role in table 3.1, the role of each stakeholder. The lecturer have a role in providing material in the form of videos or article as discussion material and learning material for students. Students have the role of receiving material to complement learning and discuss material both with the lecturer and with fellow students. To create an information system, we need to find out the need of stakeholders. We need to conduct further interview with our stakeholders to find out their needs. After we conduct the interview, we can record each stakeholder's need. The need captured from the interview result are present in table 3.2. This is the table 3.2. This is the entire statement of need from our stakeholder that we have summarized after the interview. For example, we can see on the screen. First, there is users need an application with a content search feature. Then the second one is users need an application that can provide question or quizzes or assignment as student evaluation material. The third is users need an application that can present learning videos and so on, as we can see on our screen. This is table of application capabilities. From the research we have done, we know every capability of the application. So we want to show that the application we choose, there are social media and website that can fulfill the need of users. As we can see on screen, for example, users need an application with content search feature. Social media and website can fulfill this need. But however, there are some needs that cannot be fulfilled by social media, such needs number 9 to 11, but can still be fulfilled by the website. Therefore, the website and social media are used to complement each other. This is a continuation of a previous table. This is a continuation of the previous table, and websites are developed using WordPress because WordPress has various features and flexible interface. And Telegram was chosen by us because Telegram has both features, channels, and discussion groups. We continue to conclusion section. To conclude our presentation today, we have 6 conclusions. The first one is the design and creation of website and Telegram group in the study were carried out to complement the online learning media of the Diponegoro University Industrial Engineering Department. The second one is this paper contains a discussion on mapping user need to application capabilities. To use this new system in online learning, good cooperation between lecturer and student is needed. In online learning through this website, interaction between lecturers and students is needed. This is facilitated by the existence of a forum from discussion between lecturer and students, and between students and students. And the fourth one is WordPress was chosen because it is light, easy to use, and can be used as a place for our lecture materials. And the next one is Telegram was chosen because it is light, simple, can be used as a link to the website and as a place for discussion. And the last one, this research will be continued with application design activities based on need and mapping the need of application capabilities, namely website and Telegram. That's all for our presentation today. I hope it can be useful for all of us. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Stefanus. Now we will continue with the question. Any question from audience?
Miss, can I ask a question?
Okay, sure.
I want to ask about what is the purpose of this paper, and why the media you choose is a Telegram? Why not the other social media that has a bot like WhatsApp? Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Enrica. So our research is to find social media capable or not if we use this to fulfill deep learning environment need. So the problem that we will solve is how to make up for the shortcomings of the current learning environment. We use Microsoft Teams for online learning in industrial engineering, but we met some problems such as unstable connection or from low hardware system from the users. So we need to complete the current learning environment with social media and website. Our research is to find social media capable or not if we use this to fulfill deep learning environment needed. And the second one, wait, sorry, Andrea, can you repeat?
Why you choose Telegram as a media, not the
Alright.
other social media?
All right, thank you, Mrs. Enrica. First, on Telegram are legal, well on WhatsApp, in general, what people make is illegal. So unless we register directly on WhatsApp, so we use the Telegram because it's free and legal. Thank you, Mrs. Enrica.
Okay, thank you.
Is enough, Miss Enrica?
Yes, Miss.
Okay,
enough.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stefanus, for your presentation. I think it's a nice research. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I will call the last presenter, Mr. Dodi Ferdiansyah. The last presenter.
Yes,
Yes.
Miss Hoki.
Okay. The time is yours.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dodi Ferdiansyah from student in the Diponegoro University. Okay, this is my research with my promoter and co-promoter. The topic is organizational indicators on startup software for implementing secure software development lifecycle, or SSTL, a systematic literature review. This is the content of this research. First, introduction. The second is literature review. And the third is searching methodology. The fourth is discussion. And the last is conclusion. And now we start with introduction first. The reason why I take this topic is the rapid development of startup in Indonesia. As we know, in recent years, we have heard the term of startup business is very often. Even the startup trend itself has become the passion of Indonesian youth and changed people's lifestyle through its product and services. The proof, according to the World Economic Forum to 2015, in 2020, it will be predicted that Indonesia will rank 8th in the world economy. It is undeniable that the economic power that is predicted to be increasingly solid is driven by young people, from internet use to business that are starting to be entered and led by young people, the majority of the millennial generation. The startup itself referred to a company that has not been operating for a long time, meaning that most of these companies have recently been established and are in the development and research phase of finding the right market. Once startup has been developed, management has a very important role and responsibility in making decisions, especially in an organization. Because in business, understanding the impact of organizational outcomes require an analysis of the strategic characteristic of the decision maker, namely top-level management itself. And one of the biggest challenge of the one of the biggest challenge of the ISG, or I name it information security governance, is how to organize and manage it when developing secure software in an organization. So the purpose of this research is to provide an understanding of the concept of information security governance, or ISG, and identify the factor that influence organization in secure software development lifecycle program. Now we go to literature review. There's 4 literature review that I use. The first is Startup and Software Startup. According to Carmen Giardino, startups are newly created companies with little or no track record of operating in the face of high market and technology competition. According to Melegatis, definition of startup is an organization that develops innovative software-intensive product and is constantly looking for repeatable and expandable business model. And then the characteristic of startup, there are 4 dimensions. The first is organization, ownership, strategy, and innovation, and financial. And each dimension, it has a characteristic. Such organization, the characteristic is small-scale organization, young age, homogeneous environment, informal structure, few differentiation, and centralized. The owner, dimension of owner, it has 3 characteristics. Strategy and innovation has 4 characteristics, and the financial has 1 characteristic. Well, startup software is by definition the same as above, but the focus of its product is innovative software and provide solution to problems that occur in the market. The challenge in the building software startup start with the uncertainty in their operations. Many influences little challenge where the one that affect the success of the project is the CEO or CTO. Okay. The second is top-level management. Top management is an important part of the organization where they responsible for increasing competitiveness and survival, as well as managing all pressures both from within and from the outside. Top management support is very important in the success of an IT project because it can explain how the effort is put into dealing with problems when a failure occur in an IT project. But when determining between two options that are almost completely correct, and then having the issue clouded with a seductive climate of high-level power and stress to meet bottom lines, the top leaders sometimes abandon their ethic and turn into greed and selfishness and corruption. Now we go to third literature about ISG or information security governance. The importance of information security that executives and board members in organization need to understand, so that they can fully assume new responsibilities. According to Andre Volkov, security governance is part of corporate governance. Information security governance is a process that control and direct an organization to build and establish a security culture within the organization, such belief, behavior, capability, and action. Treating adequate security is a non-negotiable requirement of being in the business. The goal of ISG is to ensure companies are proactive in implementing appropriate information security control. The main activities that facilitate such integrating strategic planning, organizational design and development, establishment of role and responsibilities, integration with the
Mr. Dodi, excuse me.
Yes.
2 minutes left.
Oh, 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. Integration with the enterprise architecture and document of security objective in policies and guidance. Now, this is a 10 control classification for security management. The first is policies, strategy, organization, risk management, program management, report and oversight, asset management, compliance, metrics, and operation. And in the fourth literature, it's about secure software development. Harris said that the most important value of an IT service provided to an organization is software. Software security is the ability of software to withstand, tolerate, and recover from events that threaten the software so that can be relied on. This is a modern secure software development right now. It's called a SIF lab. It's stated by Rothkopf argues that the problem in SSDL is that securing the software development process is a very tough challenge related to the increasing complexity of the software, the large volume of code and digital asset connected to the software. This is the methodology I use for searching. I use a 3-centric database, Scopus, ScienceDirect, and Google Scholar, and this is a query that I filtered. And then I got a total 739, and I reduced to 53. The discussion, the secure software development lifecycle or SSDL only focus on. Yes.
Your time is end.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, maybe last. This is a discussion. The indicator that were found were rules, responsibility, and competence. This is I use for my research. And the conclusion, indicators of organizational effectiveness are vital to correctly measuring organizational performance and result and efficiency. That's why we define the organizational indicator are roles, responsibilities, and competence. Maybe this is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dodi, for your presentation. We will continue with the question. Any question from author, presenter? No question? Okay, just one question for Mr. Dudi.
Oh yeah.
Your title is Organizational Indicators on Software Startup.
Yes.
Okay, with a systematic literature review.
Yeah.
I want to ask about what is the novelty of this research?
Okay. The novelty of the research is a model
Okay.
that has until now, when I searching in three database scientific like Scopus, there's no one that explain about the factor about organizational that implement SSDL in startup. Nah, there's no research about that. So that is my novelty to find a model that will use in startup in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you. I think it's enough.
Okay.
Okay, it's the last presentation in this session. And I have announcement for all presenters. There are two announcements. First, we will take some pictures with all presenters. Please turn on the camera. Please turn on the camera. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Once again. One, 2, 3. Okay. And the second announcement, the committee will hold a closing ceremony at 5 p.m. or after the parallel session. So you should join the closing ceremony. Okay, I think this is the end of our session 4. Thank you for your kind attention during this session, and I hope we can get benefit and widen knowledge from every research that presenters had shared today. Please give applause for all of us. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Oki. Stay healthy.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon for everyone.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Ms. Oki.
Yes, good
Ms.
afternoon.
Nur Amalin Nasari.
Yes, Pak Mualimin.
Okay. I'm sorry I'm late. Yeah, may I leave?